Welcome to the Online Edge podcast. My name is Luke. This is Lee. We are coming together every week to talk everything digital marketing, SEO, Facebook, Instagram, email campaigns, anything marketing.
Today we're going to be talking about live stuff, so streaming live. I mean, this is an interesting time that we're in because there's not a lot of production that can happen. So not a lot of photographers coming in shooting photos, not a lot of filmmakers going in shooting anything right now. And so, you know, if you're wanting things to go out and be able to communicate in a real professional way, then live streaming is a great way in order to do that. And so there's a lot of people scrambling right now trying to figure out how to communicate with their customer base using some sort of live streaming. And so I wanted to talk today about a couple of ways that you can do that and do that well. A couple things that we want to do on the onset of things. Obviously, your phone is a great ally here. It's a good friend, and doing live on your phone is perfectly acceptable. There's a couple things to think about when you're doing it that way. You want, if you can have a tripod for your phone to keep some stability there, that's gonna just make it look like a more professional shot. If you have some level of lighting, and you can do something that's going to look good at pretty inexpensive, and that kind of $100 to $150 range is going to get you something to make you much more presentable. Lighting is a big deal when it comes to video, and people underestimate that, but you would rather have good lighting than a good camera. And the camera is the sexy thing that everybody talks about, but when it comes to the first purchase that you can make, that is the least amount to spend to make your live streams look that much better, the first thing I would do is the lighting. On the other side of that, we're going to talk about some platforms and that kind of thing, but I just want to give you a couple of things right now to get you started with probably what you have right now. So maybe that is doing a live stream and you're by a window so that you get some natural light. Maybe that is having a not fluorescent, but what's the word? LED lamp. LED. That's the word. That's why I couldn't think of it, because it's letters and not a word. Close to you. Those types of things are going to make a big difference, and it's going to make you look more professional. None of us want to be scrolling through Facebook and look at something that looks like it was shot in a basement, hostage situation, anything like that. Unless it was a hostage situation, then people would tune in and look at it. But your business isn't a hostage situation, so you want it to look good, you want it to look professional, and the light's the very first thing to consider for that. So, I went hostage.
I know you kind of threw me off there. I was like, whoa, wait, we went off the deep end.
This is a brave new world of craziness, so we can talk about crazy stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, hey, first question. So, what are the best platforms to be going live on? Where would you spend your time the most on live, and what are we'll start with that, and then I'll come back
platforms.
To
so some of the platforms that are they were already doing a lot of when it comes to live is obviously Facebook Live. Anything you see Facebook spending millions of dollars on commercials for is what they are spending millions and hundreds of millions of dollars bettering, producing, that kind of stuff. So that's where they're spending their time right now. That's what they're beefing up. And so live has been something that Facebook has, doubled and tripled down on over the course of the last couple of years. You probably already have a following on Facebook right now. If you know how Facebook works at all, you know that when you do posts, you're not reaching 30, 40, 70% of your likes. I still talk to people who think that when they post, all of the people who like them are seeing that. Not even close to all the people who like that are seeing it. You're more unfortunately, in that 10% or less range, depending on how active your fan base has been, how active your page is, that kind of thing. However, the Facebook algorithm still prioritizes live streams. And so the more professional that you can make those look, the longer people are gonna engage with them. And so live on Facebook is a big deal. Live on YouTube is really prioritizing that right now. I watch several. I mean, just as a consumer, I watch several YouTube lives weekly. I know this is the time they go on.
Yeah. So do I.
And so that YouTube is a big one. Another one that's a big deal is Instagram Live. Each one of those you got to be native to the platform that you're on. So you have to treat each one of those differently than you would the other, because your customers are in a different mindset on each one of those platforms. YouTube is a little bit more on the professional end of things, and so you want it a little bit more. I mean, I watch shows on YouTube live that would rival late night shows. I mean, that in quality and content, that's the direction that they're headed. Facebook is a little bit more casual than that. LinkedIn, Luke, you do a lot of talking about LinkedIn, and rightfully so. LinkedIn Live is a big deal right now. There's a lot of things that LinkedIn's doing with video, and so that's one to watch for a long period of time.
At the moment, you have to have special verification from LinkedIn.
Correct, but they are
live. But they are definitely moving in the direction of prioritizing that.
That was so 6 months ago, maybe not even that. They had like 100 people who were verified to do that. That is opening up more and more and more. LinkedIn Live is so there's a chance that if you've been on LinkedIn for a while, you can get that verification.
Yeah. There's just a process.
Absolutely. So
it's
that's
not as simple as Facebook or Instagram.
For sure, not right now. And Facebook was the same thing. Not every page, when Facebook Live first started, not every page had access to it. Pages that were already posting videos and that kind of thing, Facebook opened up to that. So I saw church pages who had done a lot of things with videos get opened up to Facebook Live 3 months before other clients that we had that had done no videos before, because Facebook's like, hey, these guys are already doing something in that area. They're probably going to be producing some good looking stuff that people are going to engage with. So they opened it up to them first. So it's always a good idea to, videos here for a long period of time. That's going to be the content that people are consuming the most of for a long period of time. And so it's really, it's a good thing to prioritize. We talked about some simple ways of going live. Go ahead and you got a question. Go ahead and ask that.
Yeah, so
I'll
just
jump back into this.
Going right off of what you just said about content, what is the best content to be going live with? Why would you go live versus pre-recording, making sure it's perfect, pretty, looks good, versus live? And what is the best content that you should be putting out there live?
Yeah, really good. Okay, so the difference between pre-recording and going live, you want to do a mixture of both of those things. Almost every industry needs to do a mixture of both of those. So pre-recording lets people know the capabilities that you have as far as quality is concerned. You are never going to have the quality live that you have pre-recording. It's just not the way that the cameras work. It's not the way that things get streamed. It's not the way that when we do pre-recorded videos, we might spend 60 hours, 100 hours editing those videos afterward. Live, there's the editing's happening live while it's, the camera switches, all that kind of stuff are taking place while the video is rolling, so to speak. So there's no real editing taking place other than what's taking place with somebody hitting a switch or that kind of stuff. And if you're doing one camera, which most people do, there's no editing taking place whatsoever. So you are the pre-recorded side of things are what you want to roll out a lot of. If you are trying to do a message that you want to hit at the heart of people, that is, your film is more of a kind of a beautiful rollout, something that you're wanting to be high quality, that is very, very shareable content that people are going to potentially watch several times. I mean, think of a movie trailer. Think of the best commercial that you've ever seen on television. I mean, if one of my favorites that over the course of the last few years has been Volvo commercials. They have done an incredible job on the cinematography of those. They, without saying anything, most of them have no script whatsoever. Yeah. It's these very heartwarming commercials. Look up the wedding commercial for Volvo. It's beautifully shot. If that was a person sitting down, if that was the CEO of Volvo sitting down reading off stats of a car, it wouldn't hit you the way that that beautifully, Hollywood shot commercial did. That's what you want a pre-recorded film to do. You want to hit those levels, those tones of quality. Live is completely different. Live is a way for you to be one-on-one with your audience and have that feel. So a couple of nights ago, I watched Garth Brooks right now is doing some really cool stuff where he's going live on Facebook. He's married to Trisha Yearwood, they both were in the 90s, two of the most famous country music singers, period. They got married, formed this country music super couple, and they're doing Facebook Lives right now because they know people are stuck at home, and so they're in their studios and doing Facebook Lives and doing some incredible stuff, having tens of thousands of people on there watching. One of the networks, I can't remember who it was, one of the networks, immediately after they stopped one of their Facebook Lives, I think it was 2 nights ago, one of the networks picked it up. It's literally them in a recording booth having fun doing like taking requests that aren't even their songs. Like if they know how to play them, they were playing them and singing them. Taking requests, they did a Stevie Nicks song. They did just having fun. And it was this it's the lowest quality thing he's ever done. I mean, that guy's known for over-the-top music videos and over-the-top concerts, and he's sitting there in a 8x8 recording booth with his wife and an acoustic guitar, no band, no nothing, just these two people taking requests off of Facebook, and it felt like he was giving you, throwing a concert for you. And so it's the lowest quality thing he's ever done, but it's also one of the more intimate things and one of the more intimate ways of connecting with his fans that he's ever had. And so they just serve two different purposes.
You talked about the two different purposes. What are the different companies that should be using this, and how often are you thinking people should go live?
I think it depends on the company. I think that there's a lot of different businesses that could benefit from live. I think anytime that you have a message that you want to get out quickly, live is a great route of doing that. I think if you have announcements that you want to make as a company, live is a great way of doing that. I definitely think it's a platform that you can overuse. I wouldn't recommend doing it multiple times a day unless you have a very, very unique business with a unique audience and you are unbelievably talented at it. So if, again, we just talked about Garth Brooks. If Garth Brooks went live 5 times a day, it would do okay. You are probably not that level of talented when it comes to appearance on video. And so you probably don't want to do that. You're going to wear your audience out pretty quickly. So, doing something once a week or once a month, maybe you put together some type of a live show. Those would be things that would make a lot of sense. On the pre-production side of stuff, that depends. That depends on a lot of things. It depends on budget. It depends on if you have something to say. You really want to make sure. Sometimes people on both live and the pre-production side of things, they just want to do something and they just want to get something out there and they don't really have something to say. So on the live, first question I'd ask is, do you actually have a message to get out there? Do you have something to say, or are you just doing it to do it? If you have something to say, then as often as you have something to say that's going to be meaningful to your audience. On the pre-production side of things, I would say that's the same thing. It's going to be something that you're going to want to convey in a more maybe a more artistic way, something that you're going to want to stick with your audience for a longer period of time, something that's going to hit on an emotional level. But those are the things I would consider when it comes to how often. And the type of businesses. I think every business can benefit from live. I think that you want to make sure that you are crafting some level of a message, but it's a great way to interact with your audience on a what feels like a one-on-one level, and what you can often not do in any other platform.
Cool. Well, hey guys, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Online Edge podcast. If you liked this podcast, do us a favor, give us a like or a dislike if you didn't like it. I don't know, whatever.
Well, here's the deal.
One.
If you like this podcast, give it a like. If you hated it, thumbs it down twice.
Here's the other thing. If you found this useful and you find our podcast useful and you have a specific question you want answered, anything to do with marketing whatsoever, drop it in the comments or send us an email at info@youronlineedge.com, and we would love to do a podcast on that. So if you have a specific question on something, shoot us a line. We'll get it answered. Till next week.